Hey, welcome back to the Kingsway Podcast.
Welcome.
We're here. Ryan, this is a pretty crazy couple of weeks for you.
Yes.
You've been...
If I look borderline deceased, or in the language of The Princess Bride, he's only mostly dead.
He's only mostly dead. He's not really dead.
The episode last week we filmed 2 weeks ago so that we'd have an episode come out while I was at high school camp.
Yep. And while I was on vacation.
Yep. Our church had high school camp on a mountain in Colorado, just our students and leaders, and then one guy we flew in to speak. Flew in sounds really expensive, but he lives right by Chicago, so every flight is like hecka cheap.
Yep.
And he's a friend from college, and he's a youth pastor, and he did a great job. But anyway, so it's like at elevation, sleeping poorly, leading worship every night, going on a hike or some big adventurous thing.
Zip lines.
Yeah.
Games.
It was so much fun, and it was so great. And right here, if you're watching on the podcast, this giant coffee thing, it's called a Chemex. I made 2 to 3 of those every morning before breakfast. I was grinding, except for one of the mornings I slept in and was like, I'm sorry.
You were doing the Lord's work.
Yes.
Is what you were doing.
The coffee and the worship leading and the creating catchphrases and chants. Those are my 3 things I can offer.
Absolutely. And I was in Colorado, just not in the same place, visiting Kevin, who I used to work with and was a huge part of Kingsway for a number of years. We co-pastored together. Mm-hmm. We went from 0 kids to 3 kids each. So we were like friends in college. He actually came here before he was even hired. He just came and volunteered as like a part-time worship for our youth, and then just gradually, evolution of that is amazing.
He made himself necessary.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And in the best of ways, really still have a great relationship. And the joy is that our kids really get along. And so when we hang out, not only do we enjoy the company, but our kids just pick up right where they left off. It's almost like the kid that you used to hang out with in your neighborhood, and you meet in that spot, and you don't even have to like talk. You just remember the game you were playing and what you were doing, and you just show up and you just pick right back up. It felt like that. Like they're like, these kids hadn't seen each other in 2 years, and it was just like, you remember that story we were talking about? Yeah. And they just, it was like, you're like, how in the world? But they did. You
guys had been back on Sunday morning service for like 28 hours. Or something like that.
Yep.
And I talked to your middle son, Cooper, and was like, hey, how was Colorado? And he was like, I miss it. Take me back.
Yep.
Why are we in Missouri? And I was like,
yep.
That's what we're all asking.
Well, and we were in the
Cost
Rockies.
of living.
It was like 50 degrees. You know, you could just like walk around like it was inside, outside. That's the way to... I
love Missouri for 7 to 8 maybe 9 of the months.
Yeah.
But there's this middle stretch called summer where I just quote Psalm 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why have you made the air hot and it's 100 and bajillion degrees?
I saw a reel yesterday that said if anyone complains about the amount of cold that the winter offers, they're going to immediately just send them this week's weather report picture, which is like 93 to 98 degrees with 80% humidity.
That's the thing. So Colorado, you come out of the Missouri heat and it's 90s with like somewhere between 100 and 400% humidity.
Yeah, somewhere between.
And you go to Colorado, we got sweatshirts for our kids. Like that was like hey, you signed up for camp, you get a sweatshirt. And they were all like, why? It's summer. And we were like, just wait.
Yep.
High of like mid 60s.
Yep.
Maybe 70.
Mornings feel a little chilly.
Low of 40s.
Yep.
Ugh, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Listen, I love the sun. I have a ridiculous tan because I've been out in it so much, but I do declare that it is very hot right now. That being said, we got a special topic for today, which you probably read the title already, and you're a little bit interested. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're a little confused.
Maybe you're just keeping up with this podcast, and you're like, I'll gruel through this one. I'll get drudge through it, and
we'll see what happens. Here's the thing. Ryan has admitted that this is not something maybe that he was like, I completely get what you're trying to flush out.
And also, like, I don't know that I have a bajillion great suggestions.
Yeah. And listen, this is something that I feel like you're either going to jive with if you're listening to, and it's going to like be like a little bit of like a inception moment where you're trying to figure out what's actually going on. Did the top stop or not?
And if you listen halfway through this and you're like, it's not for me, go back and find a verse of the day, you nerd.
Yeah, you nerd. Or just go back and listen to some of the other podcasts. There's some really fun ones like the coffee one.
Yeah.
But here's the concept around this. I have just recently driven back from Colorado. All right.
Yes.
And on road trips, I don't know if you're like this, but music and vibes are necessary.
Yes.
For a good portion, or at least for hard moments, or to get yourself going. Sometimes. And then also, I find that music is like when you're in the mountains and you're around some beautiful things. I find that music is like something that you find yourself kind of drawn
having a
to.
soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so the other thing is, there's this thing that I don't know if it's an American thing or if it's just a Western world thing or if it's just a thing that I've grown up with, but there's always normally a song of the summer. Like there's normally a vibe song, like a song or some sort of like artist that takes over the summer.
Yeah.
Right. And I have just found
like
myself.
2 summers ago is Noah Khan.
Yes.
Season of the Sticks.
Season of the Sticks.
Stick season.
Yep.
Should have just said it that way the first time.
I think there's always, and then, like when Trolls came out, and then Happy by was
that a Happy or was that a different song?
Well,
was
no,
that
no,
the
no.
Justin Timberlake song?
Justin Timberlake had a different one,
Yep.
and then the Happy, and then
with Pharrell.
with
that
Pharrell.
was Despicable Me, I thought.
Yes, but those all came out.
I shouldn't know this many kids movies and main title songs from them.
But all of them kind of had this like, and then it was Sunroof a couple years ago, right?
You're talking Post Malone, Spider-Man,
Yep.
Sunflower.
Sunflower was
There we
one
go.
of them, but then there was also 2 years ago, I think it was a girl. Anyway, there's lots of songs. I'm sure if you can put yours in the comment for one that you remember from either childhood or recently. They kind of have like this thing that just sticks with you, and it's like the song when things start to feel good that you kind of just find yourself gravitating towards, right? Well, here's what I found as I'm turning 41 this week.
Ouch.
Ow. Yeah. All right. And now
I'm turning 31 in a bunch of weeks.
I'm oldish. Like I'm not old, but I'm not young. Like I can't say I'm young, but I can't say I'm old yet. So
You're in
like,
the Middle Ages.
I'm into the Middle Ages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
Are
dark,
you an orc
the dark
or
ages.
the
dark
or
ages.
an elf?
And what I've found is that, and I'm gonna use this illustration because I used to set it up with you. I really still enjoy sugar. Nerd clusters are probably the greatest candy that's been created in the last 5 to 10 years. I don't know
You
if
can be wrong. That's fine.
It's okay. We had them on our road trip, and Katrina had never had them, and she's like, "Why are they so good? You can have 16 of them for 100 calories, which is insane." Not
16 individual tiny nerds.
Well, they're clusters.
Oh, okay.
They're clusters with like
I
gels.
was like
in it.
16
Oh my gosh.
sprinkles on your...
No. 16 clusters, which are like an actual like. It almost looks like a nerd covered gusher almost.
It looks like something in biology class.
Yes, it does.
The mitochondria is the
It probably
powerhouse of the
is
cell.
more science than it is food. But the thing about it is that I don't eat sugar as often as I used to because I recognize that sugar necessarily doesn't lead to the things that I want, even though it tastes
not healthy.
really good.
In large quantity.
Yes. And
binging sugar is not healthy.
But when I was a kid, like there was no limit. Like I could be eating, I could be drinking a Mountain Dew and just be smashing fruit snacks. You know what I mean? Like I could be having a donut and be thinking about the Coca-Cola that I'm going to drink as I go to school. You know, like it just sugar didn't enter into my mind. And I'm not saying that as like a judgmental thing. I'm more just saying like as I'm getting older, what I'm finding myself is music is becoming similar in my filtering system where all of a sudden I'm not.
You don't want music 24/7.
No. And I'm not jumping on everything that sounds decent, clicks in my ear or once. It doesn't hold my, like the gravitational pull that it used to.
If you want music, it's got to be something special.
Yes.
It's got to be worth the listening to music because you won't always want to listen to music.
So we went to a grocery store right before we left Denver, before we went up into the Rockies, and I wanted to get some donuts for the kids. And I'm not a donut guy. We actually just lost a RIP, Daisy Donuts.
Daisy Buds.
It's so sad because it's such a good donut shop. They did it on their own way, you know. And here in Mount Vernon, we didn't
Their
have much.
hours were 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yes, until they were out.
Yeah.
And it was so sad because we didn't have a whole lot of things that I was always like, this is a pretty good donut. Like this is actually like it would hold up if you went somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe their business practices needed some work, but they are the greatest donut shop in Mount Vernon, so they can do what they want, right?
Yeah.
But when I went to Safeway to get donuts, I wasn't thinking, oh, I want to get the donut I want. I was thinking, I need to get the donuts the kids are going to like. And that's sometimes how I feel about music right now, where I'm just kind of like, I need to put something on that the people around me are going to like.
My kids don't understand Slim Shady, so I'm not going to put it on.
Yeah, they don't know who Counting
Crows.
Crows are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're not clicking with Creed at this moment, which someday they will.
They're not unironically going, "Where are you?"
Exactly, and I'm so sorry. But I just had that moment where I was like, is this true? Is this something that is my own experience, or is this something that others are experiencing? But then the funny moment was when I got to Safeway, they had these powdered
White powdered sugar. There we go.
Raspberry filled cream donut, and I was like, oh, I suddenly want a donut, and I literally bought this pack of donuts that my kids don't like at all, that didn't touch, and I slowly ate those every morning for like 5 or 6 days. But it was like this thing: I would wake up, I'd have a protein shake, and then I would just stare at those donuts and I'd be like, yeah, you're coming with me. Like one of you are coming with me today.
Go gadget, like, fat guy
exactly.
brain.
It was like, anyway. And then I'm on this road trip. So then I'm like feeling myself wanting to play songs that I love. And there's a particular song that I'm going to boost right here that is probably not a song that a lot of people have heard because it's not.
Is it recent?
It's not.
Okay.
It's probably 10 years, 12 years old. And it's not even a song with words. And that's what I mean. My kids don't even understand. It's a song by John Butler. And he's an artist that's just an incredible acoustic guitar player. And it's called Ocean. And it's a 12-minute song of him just playing acoustic guitar. And it is a jive. It is a motion picture in the guitar. And all it is just him finger picking and then hitting chords, and it gets lower and then it gets louder, and it's like a full breathing, like almost like a movie theme. Like it has like there is energy and motion behind it. And I hadn't listened to it in like 5 or 6 years. And for whatever reason, riding up into the mountains, I just went, I want something pretty to listen to while I'm looking at something pretty. And I didn't want even words to get in the way. I just wanted it to paint pictures that I could put words to.
Yeah.
And it was almost like it felt like listening to the intro of like the Disney back in the day. It's like, like it's going into the movie and you're like, I don't even know what movie this is, but I'm just really excited.
Yeah.
And I just had that thought where I was like, is this something that is the human experience around music where it obviously teleports us? Obviously it can take us, but is it something that we learn to use in a different way as we get older? Like where I'm not just sugar high anymore. I'm like trying to leverage what I'm listening to in a particular way that makes me feel the way that I'm wanting it to, not necessarily just letting it hijack me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It feels like when I was younger, anything that sounded good was like sugar. I would just like, I couldn't almost help myself. Like I would just have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have a little bit more of like sensitivity to what I'm listening to. Do you think that's true for like what the experience is around music, or do you think that's just my unique experience?
I think music has power. I'm trying to think about how I want to say this. I think music has power to reach into the emotional parts of us, no matter how emotional we are.
Yeah.
So like, there are a lot of like young adults and then like adults who they have like achy bodies or they have a full-time job and a lot of stress. But for a lot of them, for some of those people, they'll go out at night or they'll stay in and they'll drink a substance.
Yeah.
So they can loosen up. And like even in like the show Friends and stuff like that, all those millennia ago when that was on TV and not reruns, I was saying that specifically to hurt you.
No, I feel attacked.
When that was on, you'd watch them be like talk about it like liquid courage.
Yeah.
In the same way, but without being fully intoxicating, music does that. It gets around what you would normally be. I'd normally be tired or timid or whatever. I'd normally be bored. I'd normally hear my ears ringing. I'd normally have racing thoughts. And it does that same thing without being a like physical substance.
Yeah.
Without intoxicating you to get around even the hardest heart. And like, it's like when I make the coffee in this thing, sorry for audio listeners, but imagine a glass cone, like a funnel or something. And you put your paper filter in there and you put the coffee grounds in there.
Yep.
If I put like brown sugar on top of that or something else sandy kind of, what's the likelihood that that's going to get through that bed of coffee grounds? About 0%.
Yeah.
But the moment you put water in there, it finds and pushes and makes all the little paths that get from the top to the bottom. And so like just hoping your dad or your coworker or your boss will get emotional and be moved by something in general, not likely. Hoping they'll be moved by something with a soundtrack or hoping they'll be moved by something that is the song itself,
Absolutely.
the lyrics to the song or whatever, way more likely.
And
so
let me,
like, you just watch it in like in our area, in any like country bar or whatever, what you walk in from your cold, overworked, whatever, and it's music and it's alcohol and it's whatever. And it just like seeps through your annoyance and your frustration, whatever. Music does that same thing. And so we'll use the power of music in a few different ways. We'll use it for remembering, because emotion helps us find our strongest memories.
Mm-hmm.
So nostalgia and whatever. Nostalgic music doesn't have to be emotional music or like highly Chattahoochee gets me, shouldn't get me.
Yeah.
But I was listening to that song at 2 years old, and we have a home video of me like full twerking in my Depends right in front of the music video on VHS and our TV in our living room.
And
that song is dumb. I think that's a dumb song.
Yep.
But it just scratches that part of the inside of my brain that's like that memory and that time in my life. But then the same thing for like, hey, listen to this sad song. We had the Songs of Mass Destruction.
Such a good podcast.
playlist.
If you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen
We
to
had that episode. You don't have to know that songs on that playlist for them to get you, because they aren't going off of memory. They're going off of just the sheer power of the music and the lyrics.
Yep.
And what that does to you. And so you can use it irresponsibly. You can binge music. You can also use it like tactically, medicinally, where it's like, I'm in a funk. I need some happy song to like be stronger than my current emotion. And be a roaring river that's pushing me another direction.
So I guess that's
push me further into that direction.
I think that's the thing that I guess I'm leaning into and why I wanted to do this podcast is like, there is maybe a level of like unawareness of like how much music can affect like your daily mood, your daily choices, and some of that stuff. And I grew up in the generation where like we burned all our Korn CDs, and like
I was saying this earlier,
and like we did all this stuff where like we went against like what music can be and how it should be used. I'm not necessarily going that direction. I
like the sacred secular divide.
No, I don't necessarily think that at all. In fact, I think anytime we suppress artistic expression, I think we limit the human experience. It doesn't mean we have to listen to everything or believe that what we're hearing is worthy of our time or whatever. But I think suppressing the human experience, I mean, we can do this in the Psalms. If we went through the Psalms and we just pushed down everything that we're like, that God didn't agree with that, or like that wouldn't be something that God would love, we would cut a lot of David's Psalms, because there's a lot of things in there that you're like, we're not going to crash the enemy's babies on rocks.
Dash.
We're not going to dash them. We're not going to throw them onto the rocks. Like that
is Psalm 137.
David, like, what are you talking about? Like, but at the same time, understanding the depth of sorrow and the depth of pain and betrayal and feeling like you're lost is so incredibly powerful. So one of the things that I would say is like Disney obviously has done this for a long time in animated movies. We're building a pirate ship right now in the other room. I'm not. They are. William is with Isaac and
John.
Yeah,
and Brogan.
Brogan is doing a good job
and
too.
And Matthew Jones.
And Matthew. Because Matthew was here yesterday, but it's a different Matthew. We got an upgrade, is what they told me. Double Matt. But I literally went into all these years watching from a distance. And Isaac immediately went Tangled. And I was like, yes! And I was like, it was so cool. But that was something that Katrina and I saw in the theaters. And I remember very specifically, we were like close to getting married, and it was like, it felt very real. Like,
that's poetry does this, but sometimes because of the lack of music, like specifically instrumentation and pitch and arrangement, we don't care about poetry as much.
Yeah.
But every song with lyrics is a poem set to music.
Yes.
And so like the music opens us up to be ready to receive the poetry, the artistic expression of the words. And Disney's like incredible at this.
Yeah.
A Disney song that's been coming back around a lot and is from one of my favorite Disney movies, Hercules.
Yep.
I can't remember what the song is, but the moment I hear it, it'll fully transport me
I
back.
have often dreamed of a far off place.
So
where a
good.
great warm welcome will be waiting for me. Anyway,
It's a great song.
It's such a good song.
They're great at that. I see 2 or 3 paths in the conversation for it. We could talk about using music in church. We could talk about how powerful music is, and also a little bit in church history.
Yes. And so here's why this is affecting me, is because why I wanted to have the conversation is I feel like as I'm getting older, I am almost leveraging music in the way that I think it was intended to be. Where like
For us.
So like I got up in I got a sunrise, not because I wanted to, but I just woke up at 4:30 in the morning in Colorado, and I was like, hey, sunrise is in 20 minutes, let's go outside. Which I did watch. This is so funny. I'm gonna out this guy. I don't know him, so we don't know names, we won't name him. But there definitely was like a bunch of other people at this Rockies YMCA camp, and I am not kidding you, I have never seen an influencer more in the wild. He walked out with his head down, completely like it looked like he would just woke up, came out and like put his phone up like a selfie, put a smile on his face, took a picture with the sunrise, and then just walked with his head down right back to the dorm. And I was like, buddy, like we could do better.
So sad.
But I put on an album that was huge to me when I first started ministry, and it's Clean by Shane and Shane.
Okay.
And it's just all these incredible psalms and passages that they've turned into modern day worship songs. And I was just listening to that album while I was watching the sunrise. And it was like almost like a renewal feeling of like reminding myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing and who I am and what I'm pursuing. And it has nothing to do with, as much as I love Kingsway and as much as I love my wife and as much as I love my kids, it has everything to do with my relationship with Jesus. And like I was thinking about, this is the core of what it is. Like, make me clean. Like, help me back to that spot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that the music was the only catalyst. Obviously, creation is there. My own heart has to be ready. But I had that in my back pocket as something that I knew that I loved to listen to that would take me to that spot. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, I wonder if people don't realize that that's not cheating in their spiritual walk. That's not you using someone else's energy, using someone else's words to get you to that spot is almost equal to the testimonies of this. Like that's Hebrews. Like we cling to the cloud of witnesses that have come before us.
Yeah.
And I feel like music almost has this like, I don't know if I want to, and it's like, no, like Reliant K, when I listen to Reliant K's album, like I feel myself. I feel myself in those songs. Like that is my experience. And I just wonder if maybe as I'm getting older, I'm starting to recognize that there's this divide that's occurring where music feels cheap, or it feels like it's not something to be held in high esteem. Where actually I feel like it's forgotten in the way that sometimes it needs to be remembered.
Yeah, music is so powerful. I want to say something about this, but I want to come back to the memory remembering part. Yeah. In church history in the 1500s, everybody in the West was Catholic. And then 1511, the Protestant Reformation, and they were all like, hey, there's some stuff that needs to get fixed. And the Catholic Church in the Council of Trent was like, hey, no. Full double down on everything you think is wrong. Really don't love that council overall. But anyway, they're in Europe. The Catholic Church is the only church at that time in the West. They have so much control over governments and kings and authorities, but there's this grassroots Protestant, they're protesting Reformation. They're trying to change the church, not make a new church, but they end up doing that. There's this grassroots movement. And so they actually have this giant marketing war. There's the Protestants, who the printing press has just come out in the last 50 years.
Thank you, Gutenberg.
And that is how they like spread their message, all these little pamphlets, all these things that are like, hey, you ever notice indulgences? That's weird.
Yep. Sorry.
But to get back to the point, the Catholics are using the old school model of marketing in their side of the marketing war, which is songs and bards. I don't know if you fully call them that.
Yep.
But there's these guys who are writing like marketing ad, anti-Protestant Reformation songs and just playing them out in the town square and the bars and the whatever. Just like, hey, you know, John Calvin sucks, but to music.
Yep.
And probably he was later, probably like Martin Luther and Zwingli,
Martin Luther,
whoever.
I was going to say.
That's how powerful they were. And so actually when the Reformation started and got a footing and countries were starting to buy into this, the UK and Germany and some other places, they're starting to buy into this. Certain reformers were like, be careful of music. It is dangerous.
It's powerful.
It is powerful. And other reformers were like, use music. It'll help ensure that we win the marketing war against the Catholic Church. And so like, I can't remember if it was Beethoven or Bach, but I think it was Beethoven.
You're not going to get any help
I think
from
it was Bach. One of those guys, at least, was a Sunday morning songwriter, but they had the liturgy. It's this whole 45 minute spoken word thing. And there's some like short songs that are kind of boring to today's standards, but kind of bangers in their day. And he would put the whole spoken thing to music, new, full orchestra every week. And that's where we get a lot of his music.
That's incredible.
Is like, whatever. Anyway, so he's arranging this music and people are so moved by it because it's the 1600s. You don't have Spotify. You don't have earphones. You don't have record players. You don't have cassettes. Nobody can just listen to music because they want to. You can only listen to music because it's being performed. And so Sunday's a reliable place for that church, that specific local church, to hear music. Anyway, so people come in and they're deeply moved by the music, but then every once in a while, because of their traditions, it's like, oh, I had to cover my child's eyes because they played this demonic instrument. It's like the flute or something. That's I poorly told that, but that's a real example. Some mom was in there and was like trying to rush their child out because Bach or whoever put a flute in church. But music's powerful for that. But it's powerful in what it can help us emote and feel. You've talked before, emotions are a great motivator, but a terrible leader. So there's a responsibility in using music. If you're using music to try to elicit an emotion, be a good person. Do it for good reasons. Don't just blindly use it to evoke any emotion that could be dangerous or divisive or
and I think that's what I was talking about at the beginning with sugar. It's like I used to just let anything play and but now I can feel the way that it kind of grips me and like it can change my whole mood or how I feel. Now, I think the beautiful thing about music is obviously like we still sing worship songs. We can get to this in a second. And there's a reason we do that is because I just want you to imagine yourself just reading those lyrics like a poem. Like a poem, you know, and like the songs wouldn't be close to as powerful. They would still be true and we would still agree with them, but there's something inside the presentation that feels like dancing, feels like some sort of like emotional attachment that's occurring. And I think why this is coming up in my brain is I just feel like people sometimes underutilize what could be there in letting a song, maybe it is a worship song, maybe it is something that's nostalgic, maybe it is something that has a positive message that is attached to something that God is speaking through.
Or maybe it's a totally secular song that puts words to the pain that you feel.
Absolutely.
If you've lost a parent and then there's a song about somebody losing somebody, doesn't matter if it's Christian.
Yes. And, I was listening to Josiah Queen this morning and he said Dusty Bibles. And that's like a really common song right now. It's like we have Dusty Bibles but brand new iPhones. And that's like the start of the chorus. And you don't have to know anything else about the song to just know like, oh, that hits a little hard. You know what I mean?
Also,
Like
60 years ago, Asleep in the Light.
yeah,
Same kind of song.
exactly.
Jesus rose from the grave, but you can't even get out of bed on a Sunday morning.
Yep. Like
Oofty.
And I think why I like to encourage maybe over the summer, I've just seen this with my kids, and I know that's probably not new for anybody out here for me to be on the podcast, but like what I play, like say we have a lazy Saturday morning, which is not very often right now, but we have a lazy Saturday morning and I'm going to make pancakes. My kids know I'm going to put my phone on this little shelf right above my stove and I'm going to turn on some songs. And I have just watched, and this isn't really just like, it's not him, the only artist that I feel like right now is killing it, but Forrest Frank, when I put Forrest Frank songs on right now, it just, I know that my kids are going to enjoy it, and I know that what he's talking about is real, and it's a vibe. He really enjoy his music, and I know that it's going to stick with them for a really, really long time. And I don't want to knock him. The quality of his music is not necessarily the most like dense and like you know what I mean? Like it's very poppy.
Not out here writing modern hymns.
No, it's very poppy. It's very like catchy. But in the whole, like I love the heart and lightness and love first and surrender to God first, and it's done with an attitude and an energy that feels like it's just something I want to invite into my home. And I just I don't think I realized, I think I was doing it subconsciously because that's how I wanted to feel, but I didn't realize how much it was like infecting the entire room. And I think it's been the same way with my own heart. Like, I don't think I realized when I put on certain songs over and over again, what that does inside my own mentality, inside my own heart. And I think there's a way to leverage that maybe we've forgotten or missed or don't understand.
Can I go on a diatribe
Absolutely.
for a few minutes?
Get on the soapbox.
Okay,
Get on
my
the soapbox.
I've been thinking about for a long time, before I even started doing this job, being the worship pastor at our church, I was thinking about like what makes a good worship song, what is good, what is bad, what is whatever. Don't use allegory and have all these like crazy like rules for it that were like seems unsafe and bad to make some of these decisions, and to talk about scripture as if it applies to ourselves in some story ways that are kind of vague or whatever. And don't use I or me language, and don't use this and don't use that. And the best one, the one that makes you feel, ironically, the most superior is like, don't make it emotional. Which would be great if God wasn't emotional. That would be so godly. That would be such like God, our creator, who we're made in the image of. But that's like kind of a lie. God, throughout the whole Old Testament, is almost embarrassingly jealous. And that's what most of the like push and pull is. Even Hosea that John Coward preached about this past week is like, you've hurt me emotionally. You cannot hurt me physically. I'm God. But you've hurt me deeply emotionally because I've been vulnerable with you and wanted to like serve you. We see less clearly than in Jesus, but like I've wanted to give up my infinite unhurtability to draw you in, even though you're rebellious and foolish. And look, you've done it again. But also like God's joy and God's like righteous anger and God's other emotions. He makes us in his image. He's emotional, so it's okay that we're emotional.
Oh yeah,
men
God
and
delights.
women.
God delights. Like that's like
And so you watch Jesus. And one of the like small things I started at church camp with the older high school boys was just like randomly quoting the shortest verse in the New Testament. Jesus wept. That they'll give that as their answer to anything. But by the end of the week, it was starting to actually apply and not just be a joke. And that's one of the great examples of like, Jesus has joy at the wedding of Cana in John 2. Jesus weeps at the death of Lazarus. Jesus is bothered. Jesus is grateful and like impressed and wowed. And he has all these emotions. We're made in the image of God. Jesus is the perfect image of God. He has emotions. So leading worship that's unemotional is actually anti-godly. Now, it can be used horribly irresponsibly. I'm not saying that.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying like, hey, let's avoid emotions because they're dangerous. Okay, let's avoid scripture because it can be misinterpreted. How you like that one? No, that's terrible. So we have a responsibility to use emotions, but also to use them wisely. And so like people have always complained about modern evangelical worship. Oh, it's just emotional manipulation. They're just trying to hype you up and then make you feel down. And that way you commit to Jesus. Yeah, it can be misused like that.
Yeah.
But the healthy way isn't non-emotional. It's just healthily emotional.
Absolutely.
And so one of my favorite books on leading worship and being a worship leader and whatever, and it doesn't just apply to people with the job. Anybody with any role in any level of helping guide other people in Sunday morning worship or anything else that's even remotely like it, you can benefit from this book. It's called The Worship Pastor by Zach, Z-A-C, no K or H.
Okay.
Z-A-C Hicks. Chapter 13, I think, is Worship Pastor as Emotional Shepherd. And he talks about how some of the same kind of stuff. Humans have emotions. God has emotions. We're made in God's image. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But people are worried about emotional manipulation. And you hear the word manipulation and you infer malicious manipulation. We're doing it out of bad intentions for you, out of bad will, bad faith. And he says, actually, yes, that is one way to interpret manipulation, but also a potter manipulates clay.
Yeah.
Does he have good intentions for the clay? Is he trying to hurt the clay? No, it's just kind of neutral. But yeah, there is a reality where there's malicious manipulation out there. Somebody's trying to manipulate you, to deceive you, to get something out of you, to use you. But what's a manipulation that's beneficial, benevolent? There we go. Benevolent manipulation. That's called shepherding.
Yeah. And
so like a shepherd takes care of a sheep for their benefit. Now, like some ancient shepherds and modern shepherds, they do it for the sheep's wool. Great. Yep. You shave them, but also if you don't shave them, they're going to suffer. Their coat gets matted, years of like dirt and dust, and they're heavy and they can't stand under the weight of it and whatever. So it's beneficial for them. You're a benevolent manipulator. Like a doctor or a surgeon, you are out of consciousness in most surgeries that are pretty serious. And they manipulate your organs and skin and cut things and paste things and staple things. And unless you're in some sort of weirdo sci-fi thing, they're not making Frankenstein. They're not making some medical experiment. They're fixing something. But they're having to manipulate to fix it. And so like we at Kingsway, I'm speaking for myself really as the worship pastor, I'm okay with emotions. I want to read scripture like it matters, which means reading scripture with emotion. If it didn't matter, if it didn't have any impact on you, then by all means, read it monotone. Read the Psalms monotone, which are poetry. They're meant to be emotional and to invoke feelings and to walk you through stories with feelings. And so like that's my pitch for Christianity and emotions. Like use emotions in worship, use them responsibly, use them with maturity, just like you read scripture in a service. But you read it with maturity. You read it knowing, no, that interpretation doesn't make sense because of this other passage in the New Testament. So what's the most mature way to read it that I know how to do? So anyway, that's my pitch.
No, it's good.
It reverse applies to what you're talking about.
This is going to be the place where we have to leave this conversation to this point. But I've really enjoyed. I hope that this will leave you with something to do with what we've talked about. Because I think why I wanted to talk about this was I'm hoping that as this summer is probably mid-swing for you and you're right in the middle of a road trip or craziness or the kids, the dog days of summer where your kids are at home, or maybe you have vacations and fun trips planned with some friends or family, and you find yourself getting off-footed. Maybe you're just a little bit out of your routine. Things are a little hard.
Driven by hunger, distracted.
Yes,
grumpy.
Overstimulated, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I've just found that if you've made a playlist or if you have a couple songs that God has led you to, lean in, because I'm reading this new book, which Ryan doesn't even know this yet, but I'm reading this new book called Seeking God, and it's by Trevor Hudson. He's an OR Trevor, which I always love OR Trevors because I'm an OR Trevor.
Operating room.
No. But he talks about in the opening chapter, which we're going to do a sermon series in August on this called Getting Unstuck, I think, which is just how to move forward in your faith when you feel like you're stuck. But one of the things he says is the most misunderstood idea of friendship with God is that you never stop seeking. We think that seeking is like someone that's lost finding something, but seeking is actually something that we're called to do forever. Seek the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you. Come and knock. I'm ready. If you'll just open the door to me.
Yeah, I'm knocking.
I'm not. Yeah, Jesus is knocking.
Jesus is knocking.
And so the concept of like we are always supposed to be seeking an interaction with Jesus. We're always supposed to be seeking a moment that He wants to meet us. And so
Jesus looks so needy in the gospel.
He
He's
does.
like, "Sorry, I'm tired. I have to go talk to my Father."
But the way He talks about
pray.
it, like in the book, is like a friendship. It's like you would meet the friend on the corner, right? But then the next day you just wait in your house for him, and it's like, no, go out there and see if he's waiting for you again. Like, why aren't you going out to see if your friend wants to meet? And he just talks about how like we do it once and then we're like, we're good, we did it. And it's like, no, this is a continual friendship. Jesus or God in the garden is seeking out Adam and Eve. He's looking for them in the cool of the day. Like he's going to hang out with them. And so what I've found in music is, because I think it is emotional shepherding, benevolent shepherding.
It's emotional, and you can use it for good means.
Absolutely.
You can also use it like food. And
Yes.
Like that's a great example, actually. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
no.
you. But you can use it like food. Am I going to eat 400 Twinkies because it makes me feel good? Or am I going to eat chicken and rice boiled because it makes me healthier? Or am I going to be smart about it?
I just
and do
think-
some healthy but delicious stuff in the middle and
Absolutely.
not binge it. And
I've just found that if there's a song that God seems to be speaking through, and there's a lyric or an emotion that's extrapolated out of it, or that you seem to feel like some sort of connection, I think because of the way that sometimes it can be used in a manipulative way that is not helpful, or it can be carnal, or it can be hedonistic, or it can just be depressing. We lean out of those moments rather than recognizing there's good that God can do through them, and that it is a healthy version of soul care. And so I guess what I want to conclude this with is like, don't discount songs that make you feel close to God, or that help you think of godly things, or that reignite some sort of feeling of closeness to God, or a feeling of being seen and heard and known by God. I think there are plenty of ways that God is speaking through our world, and I think artistic expression, when done in a way to elevate the kingdom of God, in song, is a underutilized way to allow our souls to be nurtured and cared for.
Don't do it blindly. Don't do it stupidly. Like, find stuff that connects to you and ignites that thing inside you, but also has the truth or is leading you in a good direction towards God. Listen to music with God.
Absolutely.
Like talk to him through it.
I'm
and
telling
be like,
you,
God,
a sunrise with a good song is powerful.
But also listen to a song and hear a line and it's so good and be like, God, wasn't that a fire bar?
Yes.
And he's like, absolutely.
I have so many songs that I have on top of my head that I don't want to even. All I'll say is this: I've had multiple songs this year where a lyric has stuck with me in a way that verses struggle to sometimes, or paragraphs from books struggle to, or even conversations where I felt like, somebody shared some wisdom and I've been like, wow, that was really good. But a song sticks. There's a song, I'm not going to remember the name, I think it's called Fill Up My Cup, but it has the like, what do you think it would feel like to be at the first sunset and to watch the sun go away, right? And to be down on your knees begging God, please don't let it go, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same moment, you're like, it's this good, beautiful thing, this amazing moment that now is leaving, right? And you're like, God, why would you take away this thing that's bringing heat? But then the next verse is, what do you think it would be like to be at the first sunrise? And to realize he's not gone and he's back and the birds are singing, that it's going to be okay. And in my mind, I didn't even realize that is the cycle that we all live in faith, where we have moments where something leaves us. The sunset is there and we're looking at it going like, God, how can this be good? How could this be helpful? And not trusting that the sunrise is coming. Like he's not done. Like he's faithful. And he's done it every day of my life. The sun comes back up. Every day, things are better in the morning. So I guess what I'm hopeful for is, if you're a parent, a spouse, a believer in Jesus, or just someone that's curious about Jesus, and you're listening to this and you want to know how to leverage this, I think Ryan and I would both tell you, like, lean into some songs that have some truth at the back of them that elicit some sort of feeling that you're like, wow, that stirs something in me.
Yeah.
And don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Lean into it.
In the shepherding way and whatever, you can shepherd your kids, your spouse, and yourself by putting on songs that, in the words of the psalmist, help you meditate on God's law day and night. That's like and they can shepherd you in other ways that are negative. They can shepherd you in other ways that are like helping you put to words something that's going on in your life so you can talk to God about it. But yeah, like shepherd you day and night. I'm going to attach on this episode my Spotify playlist of Psalms.
Done.
It is 100 and plus songs. It only covers maybe 70 of the Psalms out of 150, and there's some duplicates on there. And they range. There's some like medium scary ones, or some needy longing ones. There are some joyful content ones.
Yeah.
Try it. I mean, do Forrest Frank too, do whatever too.
Yeah.
If there's certain times or people or seasons that you don't need this, don't do it. But otherwise, check it out.
And I also think if you've been of faith for a long time, there's some old songs. I know this, Fernando Ortega's Give Me Jesus is like a song that I'll never leave behind. It's a song that I will always have at the back of my mind of this is a song that's so close to the cry of my heart. And when I listen to it, it elicits out of me the connection with God that is so carnal and real and just so close to the truth of like what my relationship wants to be. I want anybody that's listening just to recognize that is a powerful tool in the spirit of that I believe the Holy Spirit likes to use. And I look no further than the heart of David as he's playing his harp and he is out there doing his thing, and then he's in the caves of despair, and it just seems to be something that he can't not use as a way to communicate his heart and with God. And I don't think you have to be a deeply emotional person. I don't think you have to be a deeply feeling person to recognize that your attitude, mood, and heart can be shifted in a positive way through a good expression of music.
Yeah.
So, well, this is awesome. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Ryan. I know that you were a little like, I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I thought you were like, tell me your 50 favorite songs.
No,
I've got 3.
Yeah, no.
Right
I was
now.
wanting this conversation to be exactly what this was, because I think there's a lot of people that maybe this week has been overstimulating, challenging, frustrating, whatever. Maybe the summer's just felt like it's long, or maybe they're just getting ready to go and they want to be in a good place while they're meeting family. And I think this is a way to nurture and take care of your soul.
And one of the best ways to carry God with you in any situation is to live and perpetually be thankful. That sounds like self-help advice.
No.
But really what it's doing is attributing the good things in your life to God and realizing that he can provide those at any time.
Yep.
And that you're actually walking around in a lot of blessing, even if you are actively hurt, injured,
absolutely,
traumatized, whatever. You're walking around in so much blessing, you're not even aware of it. And so it's a good relational thing to do with God. So like Goodness of God, banger song to just listen to.
Yeah, Gratitude by Brandon Lake. Gratitude. It's one of my favorites too. That was a huge song for me.
All my words fall short.
Yep.
I'm a rat chef in a hat. Great
hey,
movie.
if you listen this long, thank you so much. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, leave us a review. As always, share with somebody else if you think they're a benefit. William, we respect your first comments. We see you. You're not overlooked. Let us know the song that matters most to you in the comments. If anybody has one that you're like, this is one that I've been reaching out. It might help somebody else that's listening to the video, or it might help somebody else find the thing that we're talking about as a starting point. So, as always, we love you guys. Have a great and glorious day in the Lord. We'll see you later.
See ya.